Hi everybody, it's Jenny here. I'm trying to set this up. I think today my computer is better, and so I think it's working. I think I fixed the problem. I had to, what do you call it, update my drive. That's why I think my drive was too old, so my microphone was echoing a lot. So today I took a topic that was a question by one of our members in our feng shui group, and she said she experienced she's in a very serious situation. She found somebody in an apartment who had committed suicide, and she found the person, and she has to live there, and it's a very serious situation. And what do you do? You know, in feng shui, we call energy that has been leftover energy. We call that residual energy. They have a residual energy a lot of times in mental institutions, in places where people have been tortured. There's all kinds of energy that is actually quite, negative energy. And so, how do we deal with that? A lot of times, if it's been there for a long time and there's been a lot of torture or some bad stuff, it's very, very difficult to deal with that kind of energy when there's a lot of it. But in this situation, there's not a lot of it. It's just one incident. And people, do die in homes. I mean, that's a natural thing. It's not a strange thing. Father died, at home. But I understand that if it's a suicide, it feels a little bit different. So what we do is first is you exchange the actual physical air by opening up the spaces, clearing it. You can change the smell. One way we do that is we, put lemons in the oven and make the place feel and smell fresh. And also just to wash the place down, washing the walls. We also paint the walls. And that's because a lot of times when you move and you move into a new house, there's the other family's residual energy. And that's just common practice. When you move into a new house, you paint or it's already painted. So it's your kind of like fresh energy. It's not the other person's old energy. So it makes you feel good. And it also changes the whole vibe of the place. So that's one thing you can do. You can also bring in plants. Plants have the natural ability to clean air. So we use plants a lot in any situation. And in this kind of situation, I think it's good. From a kind of a spiritual practice, it's not really originally from feng shui, but it's originally, I think the American Indians did it. Many cultures do it. They burn sage. It's called smudging. They get dry sage and they kind of clump it together and they make this kind of a small stick, and they kind of tie it up. And you can make your own. There's no rule that says you can't. You just tie it up, and then you burn it. And then you blow out the flames, and then it gets this kind. It's like incense, And then you just walk through the house. Just walk through the house with the windows open, and have good thoughts, and ask the energy to change. Or if there's some spiritual stuff that you feel residual that bothers you, you talk to them, and you go around the room and you have this sage burning. And then you air it out and you exchange that kind of energy. And that's just been done traditionally for hundreds of years. So you can do that. A lot of other people, it depends on your culture. Like the American Indians, they use the dream catcher. They have every culture has their thing. And, it's something that you feel comfortable with. You have to find what feels comfortable for you. Maybe Indian culture is nothing, American Indian culture is nothing to do for you. So you don't want to do that. Or if, you have something in your own culture, please, please use that. So it's not really a feng shui thing, but it's something that you can actually do and you believe in it. It does affect us. It affects our psychology. It affects our actions. And so it is important in that sense. So residual energy can not only a death, but maybe in feng shui we say that when you have childhood memories and it's happy memories and your house was it's like even you associate colors. This one woman said, I want a red house, kind of like the color of a barn, because she used to go visit her grandparents, and her grandparents had this kind of barn house that was this kind of a red barn color. And her memories of visiting her grandparents were just so powerful and so positive and so uplifting. She just loves that color because she associates that with just really good memories. And then there was another person who grew up in like a baby blue house. And you think, oh, baby blue, so pretty, so nice. But she had really negative and bad memories because she didn't grow up in a very loving home. A lot of struggle, a lot of fighting, parents not getting along. And so the image of that house and that color blue, she associates with the house. So for her, that association is negative. So she doesn't want to live in that color house. That color is a negative feeling for her. So everybody has a personal relationship to colors. So just because it's a pretty color, that's one thing, but you may have another reason why you like that color. So a lot of times we are attracted to certain colors because of our cultural heritage. And that's just normal. Like in Japan, they're all kind of muddy, earthy tones, right? So I like those kind of colors. And I think they're very calming for me because probably that's how I grew up. That's what we talked about yesterday too. So, those kind of things are important. But today I wanted to talk about residual energy. So I talked to Dr. Zhu about it before. We did discuss some things because a lot of times, you may buy a house and maybe something negative happened in that house, and so they're selling it for a very reasonable price. That's what happens a lot of times if, people hear about it. So it's better not to mention. And so but they kind of knock the price down. But people buy it. I mean, life is life and birth and death. So it's a natural thing. So the best way to do that is, as I mentioned, was paint, or you can even remodel, just change the whole place around, and then it's a completely different space. And then it carries different energy. And the other thing Dr. Seal says is have a party, change the energy completely. When you purchase a house like that, have a party, bring in good energy, make it happy, make it festive. And so that kind of energy that brings you down will dissipate. You do the opposite of what happened. Just do the opposite. And you get rid of that kind of energy that pulls you down, So it's kind of a good thing, like when you move into a house, to have a housewarming party. And it doesn't have to be for a lot of people. It could just be you and whoever lives there, and you celebrate, It's nice if you can invite neighbors and you can have people come over to celebrate and to bring in your own family energy. And that's a nice thing too. So having parties and having a festive occasion changes the energy of a space, because what you're doing is you're creating good and wholesome memories in that space. So like it could be, Thanksgiving. It could be Christmas. And those are special times. And then you have created this environment for that wonderful time. I mean, all year, it's not like you're having parties all year long, but, during those special occasions, especially since Thanksgiving is coming up in a few months. For us in America, that's a big time, and it is the biggest holiday actually where Americans travel. This year it's going to be very strange because many people probably will not be able to travel. And it would probably be the first time for many people to be not celebrating with their own family. So if you are unable to celebrate with your family, nowadays we have, Zoom and the telephone and other ways that we can appreciate and show our appreciation to our loved ones in that form. So if you can't be with your family, please do remember to give them a call. These are very stressful times, and like in America right now, we had our election and it's still not, it's still kind of dragging on, and it causes a lot of anxiety for a lot of people. We have to understand and empathize and have compassion because everybody is going through a rough time. And even if you don't feel it, what other people are feeling, it's very real. It's very real for them. And so we have to be understanding and, listen to what they're feeling. And just like this person who lost somebody, it's a very, very difficult time and very painful and very confusing time in life. And we all have to be here to comfort and to welcome and to be understanding. And I think right now in lockdown, we need to be like that. It's just, everybody's suffering in their own way. We just have to have a lot of caring and warmth and the time to listen to people. It's hard. I mean, when you live in a space during lockdown, you don't have that freedom to leave. So it can get stressful, right? It can get stressful because you can't do what you want to do. If you've always gone outside and you think, oh, I'll go out and go shopping or I'll go out and have a coffee, you can't do that so easily anymore. And that creates stress because what happens is we have to change our routine. And we're creatures of habit. Humans are creatures of habit. So if somebody tells you, no, you can't do that, we want to do the opposite. We want to do it. Isn't that funny? But that's exactly what happens. If you're told you can't do it, and that's, I think it's the thing about the mask. If you're told you got to wear a mask, there are people who just want to do it. You can't tell me what to do. I'm not going to wear a mask. But in times like this, we have to think about the bigger picture, not our, how we feel, but the bigger picture and how we need to cooperate so we can get through this a lot faster. We're having a lot of difficulty here in the United States. Other countries are doing better. Japan's doing better. I don't know where you're from, but many countries are doing better. We don't hear how it is in other countries, but I have friends here and there, and it seems like the U.S., we have it the worst. So because of that, I think we have to be more empathetic and help each other out. So since we're stuck at home, and in feng shui, they say if you're in a small space and you have a lot of people, it causes tension because you don't have your own privacy. And it's natural. Too many people in a small space is no good. It's too much energy, too many people. The other hand, if you have a big house and not enough people, like one or two people, and it's huge house, the energy is weak. So you don't have energy yourself. It's really difficult to get up and do things. So it kind of relates. Too big a house with too little people, not enough energy. So how do you increase the energy if you're in a big house? Close off the rooms you don't use. Just close it off. I had a client and I told her, you just add a door there. You don't, if you're not going to use it, or block it off, or, somehow you kind of try to make your space smaller. And then within that given space that you created that's smaller, you got to create more energy in there. And how do we do that? We add plants, we add animals, pets, because that's energy too. And people, and we make it more alive in that way. So you have to find the right balance for you. Too many people in a small space, it's harder to control because you can't tell people, get out of here. So that's harder to control and compared to a big home and making it smaller, right? So when you have a small home with a lot of people, you need patience and understanding, because you don't have the option of going other places. If you can create spaces where you can say, okay, I need my quiet time. Maybe you take turns. Maybe you partition places off using a curtain, or, so everybody can have their own quiet space. You have to be creative, in times of this, like this. So we all have to use our creativity and make it the best situation we can make it. But for those of you who are, under a little bit of stress, try your best and be conscientious and think about other people. Hey, hi, Pedro. And think about other people and how you live and support one another, because we're all in this together. You are not alone. We're all in this together. And if you need help, reach out. People are willing to help. Don't have to suffer by yourself. Reach out. There are people that, want to help others, because helping others makes you feel good. And if you're suffering, don't suffer alone. You have to, and if you reach out to other people, your suffering becomes a little less. And that kind of relieves you a little bit, So it's good to reach out. And within our community, we have to be understanding and helpful. And that's the best way to move forward. So that's it for today. So tomorrow I should be on with Justin. We'll just see how we're doing. But I'm going to try. So I've been doing this Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. And I was thinking of a good time. When should I do this? And for me, 8:30 is about right. So now it's 8:50. So I've been on for 20 minutes? So the goal is 8:30 to 9 o'clock. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. And then if you have any questions, you could come live if you're, I don't know your time zone. That works. Or post your questions and we can look it up. And I will try my best to answer it in the best way I can. So we still have, another 10 minutes. I talked about residual energy. The other one was, people ask me about hospitals. Is there residual energy in hospitals? Is the energy in a hospital good, or is it an energy bad? Well, in Feng Shui, sometimes we say it's not great in a hospital because it's people who are not well. So a lot of the Feng Shui people, they say avoid it. Avoid a hospital because it's, people whose energy level isn't good. So it's very interesting the take on how people see hospitals. Other people see hospitals as a place where people are going to get healed. So they think it's positive energy. So it's your perception, But originally in Taoist belief, we're supposed to take care of our own energy. When you're not well, we our bodies have the ability to heal itself. And how do we heal ourselves? We have to take care of our body. It's like a car, right? If you neglect your car and don't put in, oil, and you don't put in water, over time, the car starts to break down, your tires wear down. You got to maintain it. And if you maintain a car, it can last for a long time. And that's the same with our bodies. We have to learn to maintain our health. And who's responsible? We each are responsible for our own health. As much as we can, we need to keep moving. And so I find that I'm in front of the computer way too long, and I have arthritis that runs in my family. And as I age, I get pain in my hip joints. I never had this before, but now I do. And so if I sit for too long, my hips are it's painful. And I found that if I take a break and if I go for a walk, the pain is much better. I don't have it. So I've increased my exercise. I do exercise on a daily basis, not for long, about 20 minutes. And then now I added a little bit of a walk, and that's about a half hour. So total, not quite an hour, but it helps maintain my metabolism. And I feel like I have to take responsibility because, it runs in my family. And sometimes it's unavoidable if things like arthritis or diabetes runs in your family. You have to be a little bit more conscientious. So you have to take care of your own health. So I hope you take care of your own health and maintain it. But it's hard. I mean, with COVID, I'm lucky. I can go outside and actually take a walk. I know a lot of people who's not allowed to do that. So that's hard. And if you're not allowed to do that, you got to think of ways to exercise in your home. If you can get a bike, stationary bike, or some kind of treadmill, or if you can't do that, run in place. I mean, in the olden days, they didn't have equipment, and we assume that we need equipment, but in reality, we can use anything. I'm in this fitness group, and it's kind of funny. He says, well, you need a kettlebell, but if you don't have a kettlebell, just get a shopping bag and put some books inside and lift it up and down. I thought, how clever is that? That's all you need. You just put some books inside, make it a weight, and that's your weight. And you swing it around. You can do all kinds of stuff. Then when I went to visit my mom and I was doing this exercise program, I didn't bring any equipment. So I just looked around the house and see what she had. And, those big Tide bottles. And she had one of those big, size softener, I think it was, or something like that. And so I had two, and those were my weights. And actually, they worked pretty good. So you can use anything, and you can even use an empty Tide bottle to keep it and put water in it. So there's no excuse. We like to make excuses, There's certain days I feel like I can make an excuse. I can say, well, I did this and I did this and kind of, but who am I cheating at the end of the day? Me. So I try not to make excuses, but we're human. We do. But now my new thing is to walk around, and I have a pedometer app on my phone, and it's good. It helps me to keep track of things, and I think, oh, I did good this week. So the other thing about keeping track is sometimes you need to reflect on your accomplishments, because not everybody says, good job, Joe, good job, Kathy. So sometimes we're so busy and we're so caught up with our own life that we don't reflect on actually what we've done. So it's kind of good to take note of what you did for the week. And, if you look back, you think, wow, I kind of did good this week. I did this, and I called, a friend, and I helped this person and I got this much done at work, and you accomplish a lot. And we just don't acknowledge that. We have to think, what did, the time just seems to go by faster and faster and faster and faster. And we get caught up in just our everyday living. And it's normal. Everyday living can be hard, especially in these times. So it's good to look back and say, hey, I did good today. You did good. And I'm going to tell you, you did good today. Good job. We need to sometimes reflect on what we've accomplished and to not be so hard on ourselves. I think sometimes we listen to society a lot, and society has high expectations, but it's all the little things that we do every day that cumulatively help us become better. So after the week, say, well, I did this, I did that, and I did a good job. And sometimes we don't do so good and we say, well, I could have done better. So maybe tomorrow I'll try a little bit harder. And that's all we can wish for. But it's the 1%, 1%, 1% over a long period of time. And that's when we see improvement. The problem is we don't continue. A lot of times you stop after 3 months or you stop after 2 months, and you're not going to see improvement in a short period of time. We see improvement when it's done for a long, long time. So if you're going to do feng shui for your house, let's say, I want you to start small. Start with not a room. Maybe you start with a bookshelf or a chest of drawers, and you clear your clutter. And that's a start. That's a start. And you feel good about it because you did something good for you. And then you move on to the next thing. And then once you move out and you did your whole room, then you kind of think, okay, you got rid of what you didn't need. Now we make the adjustments and we move things. Or maybe you move things first and you think, well, I got too much stuff. I've got too much furniture. Maybe I need to get rid of some furniture to actually have a good flow. It's very important in feng shui to have good flow. So first you look at your space and you think, how much furniture can this room actually fit? It's like a box. If your box is only so big, you can only fit so much in it. And then when you have too much, it starts to break. Your box cannot hold more than this certain amount. And it's just the same as room. I've been in rooms where there's just too much stuff and you cannot organize it because the volume of stuff compared to the box is too overwhelming that mathematically there's just not enough space to have good energy flow. Mathematically, it's, fact. So the only thing you can do is to get rid of things, clear the space, so you can actually have good flow. And empty space is the potential for something to happen. When it's already occupied, nothing can happen. So that's why I said, don't think about you're getting rid of stuff. Think about you're giving yourself the opportunity to accept new things to come into your life. And then it's easier to get rid of because you think, well, it's like, it's not taking it away. And that's what people think. I'm going to have less. So you're taking something away. No, you're making space to bring in new things into your life. And that's great. Because as human beings, we have to grow. And the only way we can grow is to do new things in our life, right? To challenge ourselves. So when we clear our clutter, when our room is really tight, what we do is we have to think of it that way. We have to think of we're making space for new opportunity. And with that mindset, it's easier to make space. It's easier to get rid of things. And the other thing you can think about is when you give away something and you give it to like a secondhand store, you're actually helping that person, whoever buys it. You're helping them enjoy what you've already enjoyed. So it's giving that object a second life, and it's giving somebody else the same happiness it brought you. So you're doing good. So don't feel guilty or don't feel sad about it because you're doing good. Oh, it's what? Oh, 9 o'clock. Well, thanks for watching. So I can't see very well. Hi, I've got somebody watching, and there's 2 eyes on it. So hope you enjoyed that. If you've got any questions, you can type it, and I can see comments. So let me know. But if not, I'm going to sign off for today because so Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. That's the goal. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday from 8:30 to 9. And then tomorrow depends on Justin's schedule, but we'll be live. And then we'll see how we go from there. Okay, everybody, have a good night.